Is up, y'all? Welcome back to episode 63 of That's No Moon Pod. It's going to be a straight up UFO, UAP, alien talk pod. Last week, there was a report sent in from Arrow to the Pentagon to Congress denying any evidence of extraterrestrial craft or beings. And obviously, everyone's up in arms saying that's completely false. And personally, I think it's just a bunch of BS, a bunch of lies, once again, coming from these people that are supposedly looking into this subject with transparency and the fact that these people are continuing to put out these false claims saying that there is no evidence whatsoever. They've looked through decades worth of evidence and eyewitness testimony, all of that throughout the years, and for them to still come out and say that nothing's out there, it's all explainable by some kind of uh, misidentification or whatsoever. And look, if you were to come out and say all this like they did, it's illegal to do if they're 100% lying, which I and many people around the world believe that they are. And not only are you just flat out lying to the public, but you're discrediting all of these people throughout the years, credible eyewitnesses, not just everyday human beings. You're discrediting all the whistleblowers that have come out, military personnel, commercial air pilots, and those are the people that I think have the most credibility because they're trained to observe, and for those type of people to come out and risk their careers, risk their lives, their livelihood, to come out and say that I've seen this, I've seen that, I know about these projects, I know people within the government that are working on this subject and have seen and witnessed crafts, non-human intelligence. It's just crazy that still we're continuing to fight the same fight just to get some kind of transparency from the government. Um, and these programs that are supposed to be looking into this subject just seem to brush everything off, think that everything is a hoax or just a complete misidentification of any sort. And you got to think this has been going on for almost 100 years now. People coming out and seeing things. Um, Again, not just regular people, but military, government, commercial airline pilots. Uh, and it's just hard for me to believe that throughout the years, every single piece of evidence, every single person that has claimed to have seen something, I just find it hard to believe that 100% of all those witnesses and claims throughout all these years can be explained by some kind of natural phenomenon or it can just be considered a hoax. It's hard for me to believe that there's 100% hit rate confirmation that it's all made up or just false claims in general. I think it's way more likely that people within this time frame have actually seen something either with their own eyes or they know of people that work within these secret programs. I find it more likely that not all, but at least a good portion are actually telling the truth and actually have some credibility to what they're saying or claiming. It just doesn't make sense that literally everything that has been seen or heard throughout the years can just be chalked up as false. There's no such thing as a 100% hit rate in pretty much anything in this world. Nothing just has a 100% hit rate. And again, I'm not saying that every single person coming out with these claims saying that they've seen this or seen that is 100% UAP, UFO. But again, I don't think that 100% of them can be false accusations or just hoaxes. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't, the math ain't mathing up. And all this does really is just kind of not surprising to people like me, people like you that are listening, and all the people that have, given their lives to study this topic and have worked countlessly to provide us with any information that the government and these programs aren't giving back to the people. I don't think that anyone expected them to obviously come out and say that, yeah, we have extraterrestrial crafts. We know of these uh, non-human intelligent beings. We have these secret programs that are reverse engineering these crafts that are working with these beings as well. I don't think anyone expected that from the government, from Arrow, from the Pentagon. It's just the fact that they're lying, and it's blatantly obvious that they are. Um, I like I've seen countless of witness testimonies from credible military personnel, whistleblowers. Obviously, we know David Grush, um, Commander Fravor with the Tic Tac, um, Ryan Graves. And these are just the more recent um, whistleblowers, or at least people who have come out and talked about their claims of these crafts. And again, they're discrediting these people who are putting their careers on the lives or their careers on the line for us to know about this information. And it's like, why would they do all that? Why would they want to risk their whole careers just for, some kind of fame? They want money. It's not, it doesn't make sense for them to come out and say all this in public and try to give us some kind of transparency that the government is not willing to give us. Um, there's just so many things and so much evidence that goes against what the Pentagon and Arrow are saying to Congress. Um, I just think back to obviously Roswell, um, the fact that they come out in the newspaper saying crash saucer in Roswell, and then they completely scrap that, say it was a weather balloon. All the people that work with Roswell, the fact that the president flew down, The fact that they flew out this debris from the crash site to multiple locations in Texas and obviously to Wright-Patterson in Ohio. Um, why would they go to that length back then just for some scraps of a weather balloon? Um, and I'm not even going to get into the abduction stories throughout time because there's been plenty of those as well. Um, I think a lot of those can be chalked up to some kind of either hoax or some kind of hallucination, but again, not all of them because I don't think that all the alien abduction stories throughout time have a 100% hit rate of being a hoax or an hallucination. I think there's been times to where people have been abducted for whatever reason, and some of them have credible claims that can't be explained by any kind of natural explanation because nothing within this subject is natural. It's all foreign, it's all alien. Again, David Grush, him coming out and saying all the things that he's said within these past years, um, I can only imagine what he's thinking right now because he's one of the guys that's been in these situations to where he's seen and heard about things because it was his job to do so. Lou Elizondo, um, and all the filmmakers, James Fox, Jeremy Corbell, these people have more than enough information within this subject that goes against what the government is continuing to tell us. Um, Again, it's not surprising, but I just wish that there was a little bit more transparency. Maybe they could say there have been situations in the past that we and the government and the military can't explain with any kind of natural explanation. We're not saying necessarily it is alien or non human intelligence, but it's just the fact that we don't know what it is yet, but we're not going to chalk it up to extraterrestrials just yet. I would have loved to at least heard something like that along those lines. Um, and again, David Grush, all these people that have come out throughout time, who have actually stood in front of whether it's a Congress or some kind of press conference, um, all these different military personnel who have seen things over nuclear bases, um, just all these different types of military bases around the world. Because it's not just a U.S. thing. This is a global phenomenon. Um, People that should be trusted if they were to come out and say these type of things. Um, UK, Australia. There's been so many different types of people around the world that have come out against what the government is saying in this report. Um, George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell are supposed to release a new podcast this week talking about their thoughts on the whole report. I'm hoping we could hear a little bit more from Grush or from different types of people like that who have come out against these claims. Um, it's just crazy that they're just discrediting these people, and for them to do that, I could only imagine how frustrating it is for those people that have stood against all these false claims that the government, the Pentagon, is telling us. I don't think that anyone, at least in the US, trusts the government whatsoever. We all know that they've done shady things throughout time. They've done things that are only beneficial for the government and not for the public, whether it's they think it's for our own good, for our own safety. But these types of things are things that only make us trust them even less. Um, there's so much money that they spend that they don't even know where it's at. They don't even know where it's gone, supposedly. Um, trillions of dollars being spent on certain projects, on different types of things involving war, um, all these things, so much money. And, you know, people like us, if we owe any type of money to the government and we haven't paid it yet, they're on it right away. They'll get you. You can't hide from them. But if they happen to lose a couple trillion, whatever. But for all of us, it's a complete different story. Um, the transparency is insane. Um, yeah, again, I'm not surprised by any of this. Um, I think it's just going to make the people that have been fighting for this subject to be public, for us to actually get some kind of credible information released. It's just going to make those people work even harder, fight even harder for us to get some kind of proof to be released to all of us, because I think it's about time that the people are ready. I think the people are willing to accept the fact that we're not alone. We've never been alone, and there's certain things within our world, within our galaxy, within the universe that we simply can't explain. Um, I mean, if you just think that we're here on this floating ball in space and that we're the only people living on a floating ball within the universe, it just doesn't make sense. There's got to be ways that certain beings or certain non human intelligence are able to travel through time, travel through different dimensions, have some kind of ability to, get within different realms within the universe, whether it's through black holes, through our oceans, or just straight up through flying through the air in these crafts. Um, it's insane to think about, throughout time, thinking about the people that were alive way before us, um, the different types of technology that may have been lost throughout time, through ancient Egypt. They're all around the world where there are these sacred temples, these pyramids, lost civilizations. Um, you could just look at all the pyramids, the Nazca lines, Pumapunku, um, the Serpent Mound, all these different things that just seem like their use was to somehow communicate or to have some kind of marker for these beings that are flying through the sky. And for the people that used to live way back when, um, it's just a misknown that to think that everyone alive in our modern time is 1,000 times smarter than the people back then. And I think not likely at all. I think there have been points in history that the human species has been just as, if not more intelligent than what we are today, because it only makes sense, um, again, for the people back then to have been able to create all these megalithic structures and for them to survive for as long as they did with things that, obviously we have today, but they didn't have back then. But maybe they did. Maybe they just had different ways of communicating through traveling, through um, just to survive in their times. Um, I don't think necessarily that aliens were living amongst them, or maybe they didn't necessarily give the human race any kind of technology necessarily, but I think they might have found some kind of way, whether it's some kind of drug or some kind of form of meditation, to be able to learn these things, to be able to help advance their civilization the same way that we've done throughout time through our technology. Um, you could just see throughout time the different points to where we go from, horse and buggy to these single shot muskets. Then, you know, within a short amount of time, we're driving 80 miles an hour, have fully automatic rifles, and have these military aircraft that can fly 300 miles an hour and shoot missiles out of it. And it just goes to show that, our species, our human race, has always been willing to advance and advance in a rapid pace. Um, and I don't think that just comes out of nowhere. I think it's built into us. I think everything that we see, everything around us, all the experiences, it's all moving together in some type of way that we just can't explain or even fathom to our regular minds. The fact that we only use a certain amount of our brain knowledge, um, the fact that there's just things that people can do and see that just seem completely unexplainable. Um, there's just more to this world, to our lives, to the universe that we have yet to crack and actually get some kind of deep explanation on. And again, all these things, all these Pentagon reports that continue to disprove all these people and all these claims throughout time, all these eyewitnesses, um, is just going to make us fight even harder to get what we want. Um, Let me know what y'all think down below, because obviously this is a pretty touchy topic, and I think a lot of people have opinions on this. Um, like, comment, subscribe. If any more news comes out within the next week or two, I'll be back next week, like always. Still uploading comic books on my Snapchat and Instagram. Gonna be live streaming Battlefront 1 and 2. The classic collection comes out this week. So follow me on Twitch. Again, all the links will be down below. But until next week, y'all stay safe, and I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.